Uh, Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Roshni Yehuda, and we will be conducting a webinar today on Green Campus and Green Audit. I have with me my colleague, architect Trupti Kamath, and I'm sure there are more participants going to join as we go along. So we were actually waiting for them for the first 5 minutes, but I don't think we'll waste any further time. So let me start with the presentation for today. Okay, so today actually the presentation, the schedule is something like this. We will have an introduction first for 20 minutes. So I will start that right now. And then we have the procedure for the green audit, which Trupti Kamath will be talking about. Then we will have about 10-15 minutes of question answers. And then we will close with some testimonials and some examples of what we have done so far. So just to begin with, I'll be talking a little bit about in general about Green Campus. So as we know, the scenario with the classrooms and colleges, they have been changing over a while, and we are trying to have better and better facilities. But at the same time, what we need to also do is to have campuses which are sustainable with respect to the environment, which means they are looking at management of resources such as energy, water, waste, all of these in a very sustainable manner. So we want to have better quality for the students while at the same time looking at sustainability. To give a background why the green campus is required, we all know that today one of the major issues facing us is climate change, and that is because of the increasing carbon footprint. This is a map of the world which shows carbon footprint, and India's contribution is about 1 to 5 billion metric tons. So we are one of the major contributors. Today we are third in the world, and if you can see the others who are above us, especially the United States, you can see that in the year 2010 and 2020, 2020 is actually less than 2010 for United States, whereas we, both India and China, are actually moving forward in that in terms of their carbon emissions. And therefore, we need to do everything possible to reduce the emissions. At the same time, there is the global report that comes every year from the World Meteorological Organization, which clearly shows that there are various impacts in terms of wildfires or global sea level rise, and many other impacts in terms of serious weather conditions, extreme weather events that we have all witnessed recently. So all these are the impacts of increased carbon emissions, which is for which we all are contributing to that, and we need to see how we can reduce it. So when we talk about campus is comprises of buildings and the people who inhabit these buildings. There are some facts and figures about the campus as a whole, or the buildings as a whole in the world, produced by the World Green Building Council. And some of these statistics show that in terms of energy, 1/3 of global energy is because of buildings, and about almost 50% of the global carbon emissions are because of buildings. Apart from that, materials that we use in buildings also contribute to carbon emissions. And then we also have waste and water. So water is just the operational water, which contributes to 12%. But if we account for water, which goes into materials, making of materials and so on, it's a huge number. So this is how buildings are impacting the environment. In fact, if you look at the global ecosystems, it is the second most biggest impact after agriculture, if in any category. If you look at educational buildings in India, they contribute, 31% of the buildings in terms of the building footprint is today contributed by educational buildings. And so their consumption in terms of the commercial energy consumption also they have a significant contribution. So we feel that if there is an effort in reducing the energy consumption, at least there can be a huge change in terms of our carbon emissions. So what's our vision for a green campus? How can campus become green? So there are various parts to it. First one is energy management, then water management, solid waste management, visual and thermal and acoustic comfort, which we will not go into so much in detail, but the first three, yes, we will explain a little bit. Also, we can go paperless. We can look at indoor environment quality, because today we spend a lot of time indoors and we need to look at how we can improve the indoor environment, improving the vegetation and biodiversity around us, and reducing the carbon footprint, which is related to energy use, also transportation. So these are the major areas that we are looking at. We think that if we are able to tackle these issues, then we can, definitely reduce the footprint of the college, and we can, make the campus more green. As per the World Green Building Council, 39% of carbon emissions in the world is on account of buildings. But more importantly, 28% of that is on account of heating, cooling, and lighting of buildings. So if the building is not made properly, if you do not have natural light, if you're not using the right kind of equipment or the lighting, then it can contribute to such a huge percentage in terms of both energy and carbon emissions. This is again another statistics to show you. I'll just very briefly tell you that you can see that the first three in the first picture in the diagram on the top, oil, gas, and coal still occupy a major part of the primary energy consumption in India. We still have very small percentage which is into renewables, so we need to move towards that. And the second diagram below, you can see that buildings contribute to 29% of the sector-wise energy consumption. So when we talk about green buildings, we need to reduce the fossil fuel emissions, that is emissions from oil, coal, and gas, and by making buildings energy efficient, which is our task, and by using alternative sources of energy. So when we talk about energy, so let's talk about energy management, which is one of the first parts of making a green campus or a green building. The first part is the building envelope itself. Now, generally, we don't go into the details of this. Most of the college buildings, fortunately, are very nicely built. They don't have glass facades. Some of them do have, and there we do give our inputs, but at a certain stage, it is very difficult to change. We have done the retrofit for one college, which was mainly to improve the thermal comfort. But otherwise, the scope in this for at the stage when the college already exists is very less. In a new college, there is a great scope in making the building envelope efficient, because the walls, the roofs, and the windows, the way they are made, can contribute a big way in how the building consumes energy. The second part is the lighting, the equipment, the air cooling, the air conditioning, and so on. And if we use the right kind of equipment here, then with this, if you achieve these two, then the building can be a high performance building. And the last thing is renewable energy. So if you do the right things, then you can become a nearly zero or a net zero energy building. One of the major things in this is daylighting. Many of the school and college buildings, for them, daylighting is an important aspect. However, we have noticed that many of them do not have the right kind of lighting, and as a result, the lighting energy consumption is pretty high, and that results in more energy consumption as a whole. But a lot of things can be done to improve the daylighting in a building. For example, these are some of the examples how light can be brought in. And especially the one on the right is a building where we have done the green audit. And, we had suggested the improvements in the skylights so that the basement could get natural light and they could avoid the use of artificial light in the daytime. In terms of equipment, you can switch from the conventional equipment, which is lights, fans, air conditioning, at least, to more efficient ones. Today, you get BLDC, brushless DC fans, which consume almost half of what the normal conventional fans consume. You have 3-star and 5-star rated air conditioning systems. You have efficient bulbs and so on. So you can choose the best equipment and you can change it over a period of time in a phase-wise manner in order to make your building more efficient. Also, in terms of lighting, there are different types of lightings, and you can see that the light emitting diode, which is the third one over here, you can see that it is in terms of its toxic effects. The compact fluorescent and fluorescent tube lights have effects, whereas this one does not have. And also its life is quite high, it's 50,000 rated hours. So, and you can see that the efficiency, that is the amount of lighting it gives as compared to the wattage it consumes, is pretty low. So given this, we are shifting towards this technology, but we are not technology dependent. Tomorrow, if there is a better technology, then we would definitely advise people to do that, to change to that kind of a technology. But the criteria would remain the same. This is just an example here to show you how by changing to better and more efficient equipment, the EPI, that is the Energy Performance Index, can be brought down. This is a standard which shows you how much energy is consumed per square meter of a building space. So this is an example of a single BHK, that is a 1 BHK apartment in Mumbai. And you can see that from 144, it has come down to 77 over a period of years, so many years, 4 years or so, by using various kinds of energy efficient equipment such as geysers, ACs, fans, refrigerators, and so on. So as you go on bringing higher quality, equipment, more efficient equipment, you will see that the EPI goes on coming down, which means your energy bills basically comes down. The Bureau of Energy Efficiency defines a nearly zero energy building as one which consumes about 15 kilowatt hour per meter square per year. And we have done numerous studies of college buildings to find out where they stand. And there is a good chance for many buildings to become nearly zero energy buildings as defined by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. One of the best examples of nearly zero, net zero energy building, in fact, a net positive energy building, is the Paryavaran Bhavan in New Delhi, the headquarters of the Environment Ministry, where the entire roof is used to harvest the solar energy. And they have also designed the building in a way so that it gets maximum natural light and ventilation and uses minimal energy. And this building actually not only gets all the energy it requires from the rooftop solar, but it also gives back to the grid. So there is something called net metering by which this can be done. Next is water management. So in water management, what can be done? The first thing is rainwater harvesting. So you can harvest all the water that falls on your campus. You can use water efficient equipment and bring down the energy, water, the water consumption. And the third is to recycle water. Where there is space in a campus where it is possible, we recommend also water recycling. So rainwater harvesting can be done in two ways. It can be either stored or it can be recharged into the ground. And what we need to design are these elements, that is the catchment areas. There are different catchments like the hard surfaces, soft surfaces, each is a catchment. And we have to find out which are these catchments. Then we have to introduce the channels which collect the water from these catchments. We have to introduce the filters and the first flush devices which clean the water before they are used either for recharge or for storage. and then find various means of either groundwater recharge or actual storage. Here, there are numerous buildings in Mumbai that we have done rainwater harvesting. And here are a few examples: a housing society in Dombivli, a PVM, a Gymkhana in Nariman Point, and an apartment building in Worli. In terms of the irrigation, also there are various, we can use various equipment in water management to reduce your water consumption. These are the flow restrictors, which can be introduced in taps. Most of the colleges do not have dual flush systems, so dual flush can be introduced. Drip irrigation can be introduced wherever there's lack of, there's water is less, or you can even use wastewater for gardening, and various other things can be done. And lastly, of course, you can have the wastewater treatment systems. And we gently recommend natural wastewater treatment systems. This is an example of a living machine, which is basically a wastewater treatment system, which is done by plants. So the plants actually, through their roots, they oxygenate the water, and different biota within the water, they actually treat the water. So this is actual wastewater treatment plant called the Living Machine at Oberlin College in USA. Then there is a solid waste. So of course, the first step is waste segregation into wet and dry waste. The treatment of the wet waste, wherever it is of a huge quantity. Most colleges do not have huge quantity except when they have large canteens. And then, of course, how to deal with the recyclables. So we also suggest to you what is the best method of doing the recycling part of it by connecting with the various dealers and vendors and so on. And we also need to see how e-waste can be segregated and treated within the campus. There are various methods by which organic composting can be done if it is required. Depending upon the size of the waste and the amount of waste that is generated, you can have organic composting, vermicomposting, electric composting also, and biogas. So these are the various methods, but of course, colleges do not have such a huge waste in terms of organic waste or wet waste, and therefore this can be, this may not be required. The last part is the environmental quality, which is, we look at air quality index, measuring noise levels where possible. If it is too low, high, or, and in some ways, if it can be reduced, then recommendations are provided. If there is a contaminated water body flowing next to the campus, then how that can be, improved, those suggestions can also be made. Indoor environment can also be improved, especially if there is a completely closed environment. Then we suggest the usage of plants. The various types of plants are suggested for specific environments. Here are a few examples of indoor plants. And in terms of reducing your overall carbon footprint, which depends on two things. One is your energy consumption and the way people come to the college. For example, if your college is right next to a major railway station, then your carbon footprint is much lower because most of the people are using the public transportation. However, we also advise various things such as, to offset the carbon footprint. So tree plantation, especially native tree plantation, and alternative methods for transportation are also suggested. Also, you can improve the biodiversity around your campus. So you can, have a butterfly garden zone, or you can have a botanical garden. Depending upon the kind of space there is, even when there is absolutely no space, we have suggested different types of trees which can be introduced within the campus, and to improve the flora and fauna inside the campus itself. The one thing that is left now is paper. We use a lot of paper. This is an example of how much paper is consumed in a typical examination in college, and it's something like 12,000 A4 sheets, and we require almost 300 trees to run a semester. That's what was calculated according to the source or a paper. So there are also efforts to see that how colleges can go paperless or reduce their paper consumption. Here are some more facts about the paper consumption. So, for example, what is happening globally. The pulp and paper industry is the fifth largest consumer of energy, accounting for 4% of all the world's energy use. And also, in addition to that, it consumes water. So besides using trees, we are also using a lot of water to make paper. So going digital now is one of the ways by which you can become more eco-friendly. So benefits of going paperless, of course, saving space, reducing footprint, carbon footprint, saving your time, and of course, most important of all is the destruction, reducing the destruction of forests. And there are various methods by which one can do this. One can have, go online. There are various methods available: e-forms, digital signatures, emails, web servers, PDFs, and so on, by which you can become paperless. Okay, lastly, a few standards that we refer to, because when we do green audits, we also we need to refer to standards. What do we refer to find out how good or bad you are? So we refer to some national and international benchmarks and standards. And some of this, of course, one of the basis of what we are doing is also the NAC criteria. We all know that in the NAC criteria number 7, which stands for institutional values, these are some of the requirements, especially for energy, for lighting power, and so on. There are some like rainwater harvesting structures, green practices. These are all suggested. So based on this, we provide the recommendations to the colleges. We also refer to the National Building Code, chapter number 11 on approach to sustainability, where all of these various aspects are provided. There are 8 aspects which we refer to. Then there is the Energy Conservation Building Code, in which we have the standards mentioned related to lighting power, density, and so on, which is also we refer to. Then there are these star ratings which we refer to, but especially if it is depending upon the climatic zone, we see where the EPI of the building is with respect to the actual standards, and therefore we also provide a kind of a benchmark to the college. Then if the college wants to go into this, then they can also do green building rating systems. There are many rating systems, from EDGE, which is from the World Bank, to GRIHA, which is offered by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. There is LEED, there is Indian Green Building Council, ASSOCHAM, GEM, and the Bureau of Energy Efficiency's ECBC. So there are various rating systems which can assess independently how green the building is or the campus is. Examples of this exist. There is this Good Shepherd International School in Tamil Nadu, which has been platinum rated and IGBC certified. So they have gone for all of these things that I just talked about, like waste management, rainwater harvesting, solar panels, and so on and so forth, wastewater treatment, green education. So in conclusion, I just want to say that these are all the things that we can do. Beyond that, there is the scope of involving the school and the children and the students in all of these activities. This is the EcoSmart and Green School program, which we work with in Nepal Prakriti Pathshala. But also in terms of developing the kind of place-based environmental curriculum, and you can have eco clubs and eco champions. You can have teacher training for getting more awareness on the environment. So yeah, I think that's it from me, and I would now hand over to Trupti to take over the next part of this webinar, which is on the green audit procedure. Thank you.
Hello, so I will be talking about the audit process and the details of audit. So basically there are 4 steps. The first step is about the historical data. In this we look at the electricity bills, the drawings of the college, And so the entire performance of the building during the last academic year, that is from June, for this now you can say June 2021 to May 2022. Then we have an screening survey or walkthrough audit. So the data that is submitted by the college in this first audit, step one, will be verified. And the basically audit is done in basic five parts or five components which are elaborated in this presentation. The energy audit, water audit, solid waste audit, sorry, environmental quality audit, and carbon footprint audit. Then after the data is collected, we have a detailed investigation and analysis of it, which is then further compared with respect to the benchmarks. And all of this culminates to form a documentation report, which we share with the college. We also have a presentation for that later. So I'll go on to the methodology. So this is basically the graphical representation of a few of the things that we have discussed in the previous slide, with a few of the additions like visual comfort. So this is basically about the light levels at the work plane. How are those is also assessed in this. And there is also something called as light power density, LPD. So this is actually with respect to the amount of energy consumed for lighting per square meter of area in kilowatt or wattage. Then, yeah, so we have further detailed and graphically represented yes, data analysis, benchmarking, comparison recommendations, and documentation on the report. In this process, while we do the site survey or visit the college, we also do testing or measure few things using these instruments. So lux meter is basically used for lighting level measurements, and pH meter is used for a groundwater measurement, groundwater quality measurement in case you have a borewell or a well on your site. Then coming to the next part, which is analysis, recommendation, and feasibility. So we basically have put here three colleges which are in a different location, urban. Two are in the urban, one is semi-urban. We are trying to specify these because depending on their location, if you look at the breakup given above, some college which is in urban context has a high consumption of AC, while some other college has a high consumption of lighting because of its location and the corridor lighting or corridor ventilation. So that's the breakup we look at, so the college can also understand which of the sector consumes the most energy in their case. We have here compared the three colleges on the basis of EPI, that is the Energy Performance Index, that is the energy consumed by in kilowatt hour by per square meter of area per year. Then further, we looked in detail each sector. So if you take a sector, say lighting, so we look at what are the lighting fixtures and how much each of the lighting fixture, typology of lighting fixtures is consuming the electricity. Then we also further look at these typologies, how many of those are star rated, that is they are LED in case of lighting, or non-star rated. And we also looked at the floor-wise consumptions of, say, in this case, the lightings. So we also understand which floor has, if any issue, or why which floor has higher demand. Yes, so one of the benchmarking, there are various of the benchmarking that we compare and say that whatever the building is performing is to the mark or not. So one of them is also LPD, like EPI. So LPD is, as I suggested, is the light power density, which is work per unit square meter of area. So we take the entire built mass lighting levels with respect to its area, and this graph is producing how much area is for is abiding the LPD and which is not. Then we also have, as we discussed, the visual comfort. So we measure the lighting levels, having the artificial and the natural daylight together in the actual space as it is, and look at it with respect to the standards given in the NBC. How much are they abiding to, or they're comfortable. This is a specimen sheet that we are trying to say, wherein we look at the various things, and this is how we compare it with the lighting levels given by the NBC. This measurement is done by using the lux meter, and we follow the 9-point grid methodology. So 9 points in a room, say 3 points near the window, and so are measured, and the average of it is taken to find the lux levels or the lighting levels of a room. This is an example that we are trying to show. This is done for all the cases in detail, and then the data collected is compared with the benchmark. So we will go with the few recommendations and feasibility. So this recommendation is about changing the non-star rated or non-efficient lighting fixture to the efficient fixture. So, so the example that we have taken had some amount of light. So here we basically give you the total investment and also give you the time period required to recover that investment. So the payback period, that is basically. And in case of say lighting fixture, it is not just about the money part that we are looking at, but we are also looking in further about the visual comfort as we discussed. So we have also suggested in this case, if you look at the light fixture has a reflector also attached to it. So the light illuminance is also increased with the efficiency of the bulb. So that kind of a case specific uh, just recommendations are also given. Then as I suggested, yes, we are proposing that for the water conservation, one of the major is also the flush system that we are using. And looking at the water bills, even those save a lot of water and the finances of the college. This is an example that we are talking about the rainwater harvesting proposal to a project where we have given some amount of recharge pit, uh, baffle walls, and these kind of things. But basically, we do calculate the entire rainwater potential, and depending on the feasibility and the things that you have to, we have proposal which says we can be implemented phase by phase. So if you look here, we have given the table which talks about the various strategies and the time duration required for each with respect to the energy benefit and the cost benefit that they would make. So yeah, so whichever are less costly and fastly, which can be done on the earliest basis, can be done. So phasing can also be done. Uh, we for the audit basically form an internal audit team with the college, and we expect in this internal audit team that there will be at least two members, two students, one teaching staff, and one member who is also the part of IAQC team. And we will brief you about the data collection of the historical data, what we require, how that is to be filled, and what is the importance of it, and all of that. So basic training will be given to them, and this would, if we continue with the audit for the years, the information will be transmitted to the batches, and this further can be transmitted by them to the entire college and so on. Even we have seen few examples wherein uh, after the audit, to implement few things of solid waste or so, a lot of research was done, research papers were published by the college people, and also some amount of eco clubs or incentivized programs were done, which also creates a lot of awareness and helps reducing the carbon footprint and the waste management on a further scale. Now, I would talk about few FAQs that we have been coming across. So first, what is the procedure to conduct green audit for your college campus? So first, you can scan this QR code. So this basically has a link for the form, which asks for the basic general information on the basis of which we give you the proposal of costing and the other things in total. And yeah, in the form, basically, I can show you the form. So give me a second. Sure. Yes. So this is the form that you will get or you should get. That is, you will have to give us the coordinator detail to whom we can contact from your institute, and whether you are interested in these kind of details. So basically, this is it. If in case you have any issues getting the link or accessing the form, get back, do get back to us. So basically the audit happens in 4 stages. First is the online submission from the college. Then we do a physical audit. Then the third is the draft report is submitted by us, the compiled report to the college for a review. And the final report and the presentation discussing all of these is done. Then how much time will this whole process take? So it takes minimum of 21 days and maximum of 2 months. If you look at the breakup, the step one, which is the online submission of the data, it actually at times takes a month or so to a college. To minimize, we are trying. So basically, if the college can give us the data within a week or so, we can give the entire report, or the procedure can happen in 15 days or 21 days as we are trying to specify. But if it takes longer from the college to submit the data, the procedure will get elongated accordingly. So yes, so the conducting the audit and collecting the balance information will also require maximum 1 week. Then submission of the draft report will take further maximum 10 days, and the submission of the final report with the presentation can take maximum 5 days. Are any certificates provided? So yes, we do provide 3 certificates as per the NAC requirement. So the first certificate is a green audit certificate. The second is the environment audit certificate, and the third one is the energy audit certificate. Now coming to our team, we have Rashmi ma'am as a team leader, then project coordinator myself, Kritika, and then we have BE certified energy auditors and assistant energy auditors to do the audit. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Trupti. I think a lot of people were not able to join, but I would now ask anybody who has any questions, you can put in the chat box, or you can just put yourself, unmute yourself and ask the questions. If you have any queries regarding either the first part, which I talked about, or the procedure and the process that Trupti talked about. Is there any question? Is your certificate accepted by NAC? Well, we give a certificate. I will come to that in the last part of my closing remarks. I will talk about that also. NAC has a requirement of certified auditors. So in our team, we do have Bureau of Energy Efficiency certified auditors. And the certificate that we provide is, it's like an audit certificate that we have completed the audit as per the various existing standards and norms. So we do provide that, and in that you will have also in the report we provide all the audit the certifications and everything. And so far we have all the colleges that we have done, they did not have any issues with the certificate. So that's what I can say about the certification. Is there any other question? Is that clear?
No, recently that NAC has said this UGC has released one circular.
Yes, yes.
About the certification. They are saying ISO 9001 or green certificate audit. So this as per ISO 17020 for a recognized standard certificate. So the question of the madam was your certificate falls in that category of the UGC.
Yes, yes. So actually, a few colleges had pointed this out to us, and we do have lead auditors of environment management, which is ISO 14000. So we do have lead auditors with us who do third-party audit, along with us. and we will provide their certifications as well. So this is in accordance to the latest circular of NAC provided by NAC.
Okay.
And what about the solar power problem just
Huh.
now?
Acha, do you have that any set means
Anybody who can set up.
for setting up the solar powers?
Yes, yes, we do. So we have a network of vendors who will help you with any kind of actual implementation. Rainwater harvesting, we do it ourselves. In many colleges, we have done it. For solar panels, we have our own vendor who will help you with the actual implementation of panels based on your requirement and space availability and everything. Yes.
One more last question. This wastewater treatment also, do you have anybody?
Yes,
Because
yes.
in our chemistry lab and other laboratories, means there is discharge that water directly goes in main sewage drainage line.
Okay.
So, is there any possibility to guide us for formation of the PET or wastewater treatment?
Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, depending upon the kind of discharge, specific kind of treatment systems can be provided. The design of it can be suggested to you, and then you can see the feasibility of implementing it. And if it's just the chemistry department waste, I think certainly that can be done. Yes. So I think that just quickly I will share with you a few of the about our institute, what we do. So basically, we are a multidisciplinary team comprising of various specialists who are into creating a sustainable built environment. Our brand is called Eco Spaces. We work on various fronts, including green design, certification, training, capacity building, nature, tools, and so on. These are some of the works of ours, actual architectural works and interior works. And we have also been working for the last 15 years. I was heading the Institute of Environmental Architecture postgraduate department. So we have done a lot of work with students and youth and training and capacity building, for which we have received numerous awards as well. And here are some of the testimonials from the various colleges. The SPT College in Juhu, where we had done one of the first audits, energy audit was done here. Then, here there was 80% energy saving potential. Then ALSJ College, which was completely different, completely air conditioned college and so on. So here also, we initially, we did do these are some of the testimonials I'm just showing you. At the same time, what kind of potential we have also we have provided in terms of the carbon dioxide emission reduction. Pattukala was one of the colleges also which has, you can see the solar panels on their terrace. They have about 60 solar panels, I think, which provide up to 15 kilowatt peak load, which is about 20% of the college energy consumption. And they're in fact increasing at the time of our last audit, they were increasing their thing. And also the fact that they received a plus grade post the green audit that we had done for them, especially in the institutional values section number 7, they had scored second, in this part, second highest grade they got under institutional values number 7. Also, this is another college in Dombivli that we had done. And in fact, in this college, we were also able to provide the solar panels. Installation is currently in progress for this college. And yeah, these are some of the other client feedbacks that I'm showing you. What we offer are the green audit, the green campus feasibility report. This is part of what we offer. In addition, sometimes, people ask us to implement, so that also we have done, and we can do complete implementation of all the recommendations. We also provide, this is not part of the current offer, but we also give environment and campus environment policy if required. and continuous training and capacity building if the college needs it. And in our team, Trupti has already mentioned about our team, but we have the certified energy auditor, we empaneled the ECBC expert professional and ECBC master trainer, lead auditor, which is what NAC has been asking this time, which is ISO 14,000, which is as per the NABCB accredited agency. And the certificate of this will be attached with our report. And we come with 20 years of professional and academic experience. So that's about us. Yeah, I think that's what we wanted to share. Any further questions, or we can then close the webinar? Thank you. Thank you.